And that's discovery, selection, and sharing. Okay, as the fictional creator now, I'm ready for launch, but I know that I'm launching into a media world where there is far more content than kids and parents can possibly keep up with. Discovery, trust, and sharing are going to be critical. You can't plan on going viral. You can't say, make me a viral video. But at the same time, you have to plan for how your IP is going to find, engage, expand, maintain an audience. For the spark for this, I've asked Nancy McIntyre, the CEO of Fingerprint, to talk about this. They are an aggregator, essentially, and a networker of content. And I asked her, will we see more and more trusted sources like Fingerprint emerging? And what's the relationship between those trusted sources and aggregators or reviewers and content creators? Could we roll Nancy McIntyre's video?
The problem around discovery is not just a problem for content creators. It's a problem for parents, kids, and even teachers looking for right content for their children. The advent of the democratic distribution system with the App Store, YouTube, and Xbox were supposed to give content creators direct access to users, and for the best creators, that's been absolutely true. But in most cases, people making digital content have been lost in a sea of millions of other pieces of content and really had difficulty reaching the consumer. I think curation is the future. Specialized, personalized offerings for the family that are served up through trusted providers. For example, if I'm a mom with kids 3 to 5, I'm thinking about school readiness. I don't want to weed through thousands of apps. I want to get the best collection of games, books, videos, and activities that are going to prepare my child for school, keep them engaged, keep them entertained, and really inspire a love of learning. And I want to know that wherever that content comes from is trustworthy. So we're seeing a range of content distributors and content creators around the world really think about curation and really think about content as a service that could then be offered to their consumers to really benefit them and solve the pain point around discovery in the App Store and then discovery of digital content in general.
Erin, let me start with you coming out of this. Are there reliable metrics emerging that go beyond the traditional metrics like ratings, views, and downloads?
That's what we've been working with IBM on. So IBM Watson, y'all know of, like who beat Jeopardy and everything, question and answer. We have been taking my leveraging engagement model, which is on these new behaviors of mastery, identification, and pride, whether it's a kid or an adult, and building dictionaries around any type of property. And we have a couple of different sponsors we're working on. We're working on 5 different properties right now, building dictionaries and keywords and algorithms for machine learning and cognitive computing. I don't know if I'm totally making sense or not. But the key is what we're finding is that we don't have to go to just ratings. We don't have to go to just mentions or likes, which don't mean anything in my opinion, but I'm opinionated, and move towards more of the pulse of different social groups. Another thing that's a little kind of far out, but I think has potential in regards to new metrics, is I'm always inspired. I promote him so much, I should be his agent. I'm always inspired by Jonathan Harris. Do any of you know who this guy is? I interviewed him when I was still at MIT, and he's a computer scientist, an artist, and a designer. And combining together, he's really created some interesting curated stories on culture or human. So think about this whale hunt that he did, a picture every 10 seconds on a whale hunt for 10 days in Alaska. And then how you can curate it is you can find it through color. Pick the color red, and what do you find there? You know, or pick the heartbeat, when the heartbeat was really scary at a moment when the hunt actually happened. How can we use those type of metrics to actually find video on YouTube?
Takes me back to the International Children's Digital Library, which when they launched had a very elegant way for kids to look for books, including, I feel like reading something yellow. So,
Well, and curation is interesting too from the content distribution standpoint. So whether it was, Netflix changed to go ahead and add a kids-only version of the site, which, kind of gets out of whatever else was being watched inside the household. And so it's now, I don't have to see every Disney and Nickelodeon program, no offense, but in my own. But, now the child could kind of have their own curation of what's happening within what the system is learning about the child's choices. And YouTube, which is, a platform that's a little scary for a parent because, there's that search box right at the very top of everything that's going on. You might start with Stumpy or something like that, but the reality is, Stampy, sorry, is that you go ahead and, Stumpy, right? Probably that too, I'm sure it's probably taken. But you go ahead, as a parent, you're worried about what are they going to search, what are they going to find next, what's the next recommended piece within it. YouTube has coming out a kids version that they've been talking about, and so we'll see curation happening that way, which becomes more of a trusted source, so you don't have to be so involved as a parent to you feel that kind of comfort level of what's happening within the curated app itself.
Yeah, I'm a parent of 4-year-old twins, boy-girl twins, and I'm scared of YouTube for them. I do, and I do put a lot of Nickelodeon in front of them, obviously, but they, they digest a lot of content, and they just consume it like I've never seen anything consumed, and it's really fascinating. But that trust issue is big, and to not to look at that big world and it's a scary proposition for a parent. So brands that you trust in curating through that is really important, and is a big opportunity for us at Nickelodeon to be there and be part of those brands that they trust.
Like,
yeah, I was just going to say, at YouTube, and I could speak personally. I'm a parent first, and making sure that there's that good experience and a family-friendly experience is something that we think a lot about, and also at the same time having that ability to offer up a lot of content that is engaging, nutritious, educational, which so much of that is there. Back in the day, your parents said to you when you had a question, go look it up. Today, go look it up is go to Google, go to YouTube, and you'll land on a great Khan Academy video on how to derive the perimeter of a circle, or an ASAP science video on what comes first, the chicken or the egg, which one actually came first. And the answer is the egg, by the way. But so striking that balance, I think, is really important and something that we're thinking a lot about.
It sounded like you were...
No, it is kind of hard because it's like I tried to create this content, and then someone will take a video that I made that is perfectly like PG rated, and will take it and turn this piece of content into something that is nothing that I had intended on it being. And then when people are searching for me, this stuff shows up. So it's kind of frustrating too. So it's like, how do you find this line of, listen, this is safe for your kids to watch? And it's always very rewarding whenever a parent will email me and say, you know what, I feel safe letting my child go to your channel because they know nothing bad is going to happen.
And we need, it seems to me, this is your 30-second question here. As we, if the timing is out.
I think the Academy's telling us our time is up.
You can start flashing the lights.
Yeah, right? I guess they want us to go home. No, as we continue in the dark, as most of us are these days about all these things. Here we go. The 30-second question in this category is there room for as many raters, reviewers, and curators as can be out there, because every family is different, and your 4-year-old and my 4-year-old may not be the same, have the same interests. Your sense of what's appropriate may not be the same as my sense of what's appropriate. Is there room for essentially infinite raters and curators out there?
I'll try to take that one in 30 seconds. Yes. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. No, I do. What is so interesting about where content is going, and it's all content. It's TV, it's movies, it's obviously digital content, is that the definition of finding your community and your audience is becoming more and more refined. Obviously, through not just through the technology, but through the habits of kids, and certainly. being able to access all of it is very worrisome as a parent. I am one. My kids are now teenagers, so bye-bye. They,
You've done all you can do.
yeah, I've done everything I can do. I kept them away as long as I could, and now they're in it. No, but what is interesting, even as teenagers, you know, they were once kids, and I remember what they liked and disliked and how they kind of responded. The community that is growing around, and they live in this world, they swim in it. I really feel that there is a developmental aspect to that that is really, will be fascinating as researchers and academics start to watch this, of the way in which their brain is developing with all this digital input all the time, and how they manage it. Because I remember when my daughter was, I think, 10 years old, she was on the computer, and she was watching a TV episode on Hulu. She was playing a game on mini clips. She was on she was on Facebook with her friends. She was on Instagram with her friends as well. This is all at the same time, simultaneously. So, and she said, you know, I asked her, how the hell, you know, can you focus on any one of these? And she said, I can do all of them. And that to
Parallel
me,
tasking.
yeah, exactly. And that to me was sort of a revelation. This is the world in which they swim and live, and it's not unusual to them, as nor should it be. But this is the world in which we create. And what we have to understand is both that ease and that, you know, what seems to us to be fickle, or, you know, they don't have an attention span that can capture anything at one time, is something more complicated than that.
Yeah, I have to promote media literacy, right? This is actually a media literacy conversation we're having here. And you're right, it's for every parent has a different approach to how to critically think about and create media with their children. And so what we need to do is we need to be able to educate more people in regards to what are the right conversations you should have when you come across the media that you don't want your kids to see, because it's not like you can shut it down, but it's there, and so you might as well have the conversation about it.